All right. Welcome to Wicked Friggin' Heavy, New England culture that packs a punch. I am your host, Drin, and joining me today is Noah Collette of Mortar.
Thanks so much for having me on this. Appreciate it.
Hell yeah. All right, so before we get started, I just want to make it clear that I am in no way an expert of hardcore music. I play trombone. And I want to write heavier music that incorporates my instrument, so I'm here to learn, and at the same time, I hope to bring light to a growing scene and culture here in New England. So, without further ado, let's start the first episode. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Dayton. I lived there basically my whole life with my parents and brother. And now I currently live in Saco with my wife, Denisha.
What caused you to want to do what you do?
Well, I mean, just like all throughout high school, you know, I was nowhere near a popular kid. I was a bit of a misfit, definitely. And I always kind of had this liking for heavier sounds in music. Like when I was younger, hearing like Linkin Park. Or like things like that on the radio. It was always really cool for that. And as I got to high school, I found more and more bands and made my way up. Eventually made my way down like the scene rabbit hole with like Gassing Alexandria, Bring Me the Horizon. And then made my way into hardcore eventually with our guitarist Lucas. Went to see Every Time I Die, Knocked Loose, Harm's Way, and Eternal Sleep in Portland. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is the coolest thing ever.
This is what I want to do.
Literally.
That was the moment. When did Mortar form, and how did that happen?
We formed, oh God, it should be sometime maybe like, I want to say it was like 2 years ago. We started getting together and kind of like really starting to write stuff. We originally were in another band before that. I don't really talk about it much, but we were in that before, and then we kind of split off and did our own thing, and that kind of became the framework for Mortar. And we had another drummer beforehand. Things just didn't work out, so we eventually found our way to Shakes. And that's how we are at the point we are now, and then eventually incorporated Trevor from Gumscab. And yeah, that's brings us to the current day.
Sweet. What is your perspective on the development of the New England hardcore scene since you got into it?
It's better than it ever has been.
Yeah.
Because when I was first getting into this, like, the only shows I could realistically go to were when big ones happened. Like, Arcadia in Portland is where I saw Knocked Loose. It was originally Port City Music Hall, and that was most of the shows I could go to in Maine. If it wasn't a big show like that, I had to drive out of state. So most of my perception of it for a long time was going to Mass or New Hampshire and seeing those scenes and kind of gauging my perspective off of them. And eventually, as I started seeing more and more stuff coming around here, specifically I saw a show happening in Biddeford. I was like, what? That shit doesn't happen. But it does.
Yeah.
And now we have shows there all the time, and it's kind of becoming like the place bands want to come for the scene, which is so cool.
Like this hub.
Yeah, because it was just Portland. I was too young to be able to see stuff like the Vet Center.
Yeah.
Or like all the different like VFW halls that were all over Maine. I never got to see those, and they kind of stopped doing shows around the time that I got into this. So it's cool to see everything coming back now.
I left for a few years and came back, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to start this podcast, is because in the 2-year span that I was gone, when I came back, things are just exploding. It's a totally different scene, even in that short period of time. It's
Things
crazy.
just went off the rails. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so good. And bands are popping up everywhere. Everyone's starting bands, trying to book shows and get more attention on Maine hardcore. And
Right.
I love it.
Right.
Because it's something we haven't had in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Local bands you think we should check out?
Of course, obviously mentioned a few times, Gumscab. Those boys, they've been with us since the very early days of the band, and Ethan and Trevor both fill in on bass and play bass for us. Every now and again, or I guess now it's basically always, but yeah, Hard Cash. Rest in peace, my enemies. Rest in peace, my enemies. Those boys from Portland, probably the hardest band in the state. Love them. Great dudes. Bones has been about us since day one. Infernal Diatribe. Probably one of my favorite sounding bands, very much so on that more metalcore side, very much sound like Disembodied and that real nasty stuff. I love that. And I'm trying to think outside the box a little bit because those are like the three biggest ones. Camden's side project from Infernal, Zinc. Very, very cool power violent stuff. Snake Lips, very cool band, kind of on the more like indie emo-ish side. There you go.
I like that stuff. Yeah, nice. What comes first, the lyric or the song?
The song.
For you? The song?
100%
Yeah.
the song.
So, what does that process look like?
I'll usually have a concept for a lyric in my head. Usually have something kind of written up, but like mostly I will see and kind of hear what Lucas and Maya, they usually will write something down first and kind of get like a blueprint for it all set up, send just like a raw file, and then from there I'll kind of work around whatever concept I want to write about and work through kind of like all the different parts and try to match tempo. I'll have like a thesaurus next to me for like, it's like, ooh, this word would be way better than this word. And it's like, that's kind of the whole gist of it.
Nice, nice. What does the rehearsal process look like? Like when Maya and Lucas write a song and bring it to a rehearsal, do you just riff over what they've got, or do they send the track to you ahead of time? Like, how does that work?
They'll usually send the track to me ahead of time. They'll send it over in whatever group chat we have, or one of them will just send it. And from there, I'll just kind of listen to it, and I'll be like, kind of gauge a flow for it. There's been a few times with like the song we just put out, Cleanse. When I was first
Check out Cleanse.
check out Cleanse. The first time we kind of practiced that, I just riffed through it and just yelled whatever the fuck I wanted into the mic.
Yeah.
And I was like, this will work. And then from there, I just kind of worked around it,
Yeah.
took some of their ideas into play as well, and was like, this would fit here, that would fit there, and then...
That breakdown section where you're giving this like epic, angry speech, was that just made up on the spot, or?
I wrote that ahead of time.
The pain and torment you inflict, the scars you leave on the innocent. You'll spread your misery no longer when my hands crush.
That style, I love that shit. Like, that's those spoken word parts. Like, bands like Seven Angels, Seven Plagues, or like my favorite band is Renounced. They have that smeared all through their music.
You're like building up to this massive section, and it definitely arrives.
Yeah. I love that scream so much. When we recorded that, Maya was so excited about it. She's like, that's the best scream you've ever done.
I mean, I can see why.
It's crazy seeing that evolution, because when I first started doing this, when I first joined Mortar, I was originally doing bass. I was playing bass.
No way.
And
That's
we were
crazy.
like, we need a vocalist. And Maya did her shot at it. But I think Maya was very much so wanting to do guitar, because she's a guitarist at heart. She was like, she wants to do that. And I was like, screw it, I'll take a shot. And I grabbed the mic, and in our practice space just started jumping around, screaming. And they were like, "You're a vocalist now." And from there, I would come to practice, and I would lose my voice every practice. Now I don't, and it's seriously, practice makes fucking perfect with this stuff. If you don't, you're just gonna destroy your voice on the weekly.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you? Is there like a healthy way to do it? Like.
Yeah, I mean, there's like techniques and stuff that you can use with like.
Did you just wing it when you first started, or? Yeah.
I mean, back when I was like in high school, I would watch like these like deathcore vocal tutorials to like teach you how to do all these stupid noises, and I'm like, I can still do that stuff, but it's not really what I want to do. I'll throw it in every now and again because it makes those moments hit just a little more hard.
Right.
Learning those techniques of like not using your throat, trying like specifically aiming for the diaphragm. I mean, those are like the basic things they'll teach you with vocals, and then drink a lot of water.
Okay.
That's the big one. And
water is key.
Herbal tea.
Herbal tea.
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
I
I
heard
mean,
lemon too. Like,
I'm not crazy about lemon,
No?
but yes, it does.
Okay.
It does
All right.
work.
yeah. I'm a lemon guy.
Specifically,
Don't bring Noah lemons after the show.
That'll hurt my throat.
He
Hell
won't
nah.
like it. Yeah.
Specifically, every vocalist uses it. The fucking throat coat tea that you see at stores.
Yeah.
It's so good. It smooths out that. It makes it easier. It doesn't hurt. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, I think one of the biggest things I admire in like really heavy music is the fact that if you're gonna be a front man or like a front woman to like a hardcore band or any kind of metal band, you really mean what you're saying on stage. Like, you're up there screaming your point in front of an audience.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're not doing it for that, then you're not fucking about this.
Right.
You're not for hardcore. You don't get into this shit because you're trying to do it for clout. That shit's whack. Don't do that.
That's insane.
I've seen people do that, and it sucks.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, and they get pointed out real quick, and then nobody takes them seriously, and nobody ever sees them again. You don't do this shit because you're not about it. You do this shit because you're about it and you love it.
Yeah.
And I can't think of not wanting to be a part of this.
Yeah.
I love it.
Do you think that the rise of the hardcore scene in New England is happening for political reasons in some way? Do you think that's why it's popping off, because of all of the polarity that's happening in like America or in the world right now, things changing as much as they are?
this might be a bias just because, you know, we're in New England. New England has always been, the Northeast specifically, has always been the mecca of hardcore. Everywhere. New York City, New York shit, fucking Connecticut, all the Massachusetts, whether we're in Boston, Central Mass, New Hampshire, and then up here in Maine, it has always been, in my opinion, the mecca of the scene. And hardcore has never disappeared. It's never gone away. I mean, when political strife happens, I think
that
everyone...
gives you more to work with, probably, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it brings everyone together because it's something we all want to fight with. I think we're all, especially all of us in Mortar, are under the agreement hardcore, by definition, is political. It's always been about making a statement from day one.
Yeah.
And even before that, when punk was a thing, that's how it's always been. So, yeah, I'd say yes and no. Hardcore's always been here, but when it gets to those points, we get stronger because of it.
Right. All right. Tell me about the straight edge scene. What does it mean to be straight edge? Because you mentioned that the other day at your show.
Yeah.
You know, that you were,
Straight edge, if you've ever seen bands who have like the X and stuff, it's a lifelong devotion to not doing substance by any means, no drugs, no alcohol, and it is something that I've lived by from learning from this music over the years, whether it's bands like One King Down, 18 Visions, some newer artists like Balmora, Nomad, pushing that hard, or Abstain, and there's so many artists I could name that have inspired me in such a way for this. It is such an important thing for hardcore. And I mean, I'm the only member of Mortar who is straight edge, and there's not a lot of straight edge people in Maine in general. I think you go down to like Massachusetts, everywhere. Most of the people I know are straight edge down there, compared to up here where it's like I could probably count on two hands all the people I know who are straight edge in Maine.
Yeah,
it's the best. Being it, I like having it in my life, having this thing that like I see people who have degraded because of drugs and alcohol. I have family who have suffered due to alcoholism. I know people who have OD'd or otherwise, and I don't want to have that legacy and keep the same way. I want to be able to keep my friends and family safe while also keeping myself safe, because it's the most important thing, protecting your friends and family. That's what hardcore is all about. It's just always wanting to let people know that even though we're not a straight edge band, like always will push. That's why I always have the X's on my hand on stage.
Yeah.
I will always show who I am with that.
Yeah.
And always be here for that, because it's one of the most important things in my life.
So you do that before every show?
Before we hit the stage, I X up every time. And I'll always be wearing this watch.
Yeah.
Because of that. The only time I don't is when I'm working. But other than that, yeah.
Awesome. One last question, and then I think that's it. You know. And the question is, do you think there are pyramids buried under the ice in Antarctica?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Noah, for coming on the first episode of Wicked Friggin' Heavy. Before you go, I want you to tell us about any exciting shows that Mortar might be playing in the near future.
So right now, all that's been announced is at Gino's in Portland, we will be playing with Body Snatcher, No Cure, and our friends in Infernal Diatribe. So
let's go.
Come to that one.